Illinois added Duke to the schedule for a home and home series. We're going to Cameron Indoor this year, and then they're coming here next year. So the schedule's already loaded, but what's your thoughts to Illinois adding Duke to the schedule?
Well, the first thing I would say is, did Brad Underwood sign some kind of blood oath to never get the first leg of the home and home?
Yeah.
Like Texas Tech, I think, is the only time it's happened. We had Arizona in 19 and 2021, went to Tucson first. We did the Tennessee thing. This played in Knoxville, then went to Champaign. Then we had the neutral in Nashville. The Uconn stuff's not a home and home, but, it's just wild how, like, we're not ever getting that first game. But second of all, this is what you want to see, right? This is you telling the country that you've arrived. And I know the last time they played Duke, it was ugly. It was horrible. You also had Cooper Flagg on that team and Model Watch, and they had like 3 lottery picks on that team. And Illinois had a couple of really good players that went to the NBA, but it's not the same. Illinois didn't have 9 McDonald's All-Americans, 8 5-star. Like, they had 2 really good guys individually, but they weren't surrounded by other guys that were going to be in the league. Wasn't Knipple on that team too? So you had Model Watch, Connor Knipple, and Cooper Flagg. Like, what?
And we were pretty hurt too. Tommy didn't play, or somebody didn't play.
I think at that, and then we had the bubonic plague running through the locker room. I'm sure, I forget who, but there was probably 4 or 5 guys that were sick. Had avian flu, whatever the hell it was. Yes, I mean, you got to look at that in a vacuum. Like, oh, they had the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and like the number 6 overall pick in the draft, and the number 9 pick in the draft on the same team at the same time. Like, Duke is Duke, right? That's how Duke is going to be. You want to have that coach discussion, we can have it. Like, is John Shire a very, very good coach? Absolutely. But it doesn't hurt that you've got 40 years of backstory and, 15 Sweet 16s or whatever, 15 Final Fours and 5 national championships from your predecessor. Like, that's going to linger forever. That's not going to be like, one 500 season and you just throw that away. We're not going to get any recruits anymore. Like, it's Duke, so they and Uconn are like the top of the scale. They're the peak. That's where you want to get to. And Brad understands that. That's why he's recruiting the way he recruits. That's why he's scheduling like an absolute maniac and putting this stuff out there. Let's go. Let's play the best teams. We'll go to Durham. Like, we're not scared to go to Cameron and play them. Like, let's do it. What's the worst thing that happens? We lose? Okay, we could say, we lost to Duke when they were number 3 in the country and lost in their home gym. Like, it doesn't matter. And now with the tournament expansion, we saw this coming for a couple of years, but with the tournament expansion and the way things are evaluated with net and everything, you don't even have to win the games. You just got to schedule them. You can't schedule Mississippi Valley State 11 times like some teams used to do. Some teams still do. And then they're like, wait, why can't we get in? Well, you played Glass Joe 11 times, and now you're going to go 9 and 11 in the Big Ten and be like, but we play in the Big Ten. Yeah, Brad's like, to hell with that. We're going to play. And I think there's another, they added a game now. So you're allowed 12 non-conference games now. So we're going to play 6 bangers and we're going to play 6 cupcakes. And then we're going into the Big Ten. So they're not done. I guarantee you that. They're not done. They played 5 of these games last year. You count Mizzou as one of those because it's a power conference team. They're not done. There was rumors of, I think, Houston and maybe North Carolina I'd like to see Kansas or Kentucky personally. The fact that Champaign and Lexington are only separated by like 4 hours and they hadn't played in 40 years or something like that until the 2024 tournament. Like, that's nuts. Like, those teams should be clawing and scratching to play each other. So yeah, they're not done. There's going to be more, but you're playing Uconn and Duke. Those are the two bluest of bloods, and you're going to play. Isn't it like back to back or something? Like, or no, they're playing Texas Tech in Lubbock, and then literally a week later they're playing in Cameron. It's like November 17th, I think is the day. So, and then of course you're going to play Uconn later on down the road. They'll play in Champaign. That they're renewing the Duke rivalry. That'll be December 4th in 2027. So that's going to be probably right before the Big Ten jump where they play those two Big Ten games. Yeah, thank you for showing that. Texas Tech, Tuesday, November 10th at in Lubbock. And then, not for nothing, they'll probably have one game in between there, I would think. Probably a home game against Southern North Dakota State or something. And then they'll go to Duke November 17th. And then Uconn in Chicago, December 4th.
Yeah,
it's wild.
That's going to be a crazy schedule.
It's great. I mean, yeah. It's great. And like I said, obviously you want to win the games, but you don't even have to win the games now. You just have to say, look who we played. And the committee is going to say, yeah, they played blah, 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 blah. I mean, Auburn almost got in playing this exact same schedule and they were 500. So if you're 19 and 14 or something, like, you're going to coast right in now with this, the additional 8 teams. Like, it's going to be cake. You win 18 games now and you play in a power league, you're probably going to get in.
Yeah, it's I was going to say Auburn feels like the exception, but they had so many losses and really not a ton of wins to hang their hat on, but now that the tournament's getting bigger, I mean, Auburn would have been in. So there's literally no downside in scheduling these games. I mean, it's great for it's great for the fans. I mean, tickets are going to be crazy. Like, it's
I mean, that's the only thing. Like, as a fan, like, yeah, I could apply for a credential and go to 50 games if I wanted to go to 50 games. But like, as a fan, like, that's the only drawback for me is, like, I'm gonna have to spend $500 on a ticket now because we're playing Duke or we're playing Houston or Connecticut or Gonzaga or whoever it is. Like, that's the only drawback to this. But I mean, the matchups are fantastic. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. I mean, this is what you wanted as an Illinois fan for 15 years. And you weren't getting this with Bruce Weber and John Gross. You weren't. Yeah, you were talking about, you and Robbie were talking about the recruiting misses and all that stuff. And yeah, there was a lot of chatter about, like, Derrick Rose. Like, Derrick Rose was never going to come to Illinois. Like, just stop. Like, Derrick Rose playing for Bruce Weber would have been like the weirdest. He'd have been miscast so horribly at Illinois. Like, yeah, he's from Illinois. Like, okay, so what? Bruce Weber couldn't get John Shire to come to Illinois, and Bruce Weber's brother coached John Shire at Glenbrook North, and he was never coming to Illinois. So, come on. If White Mike wasn't going to come to Illinois, D Rose wasn't going to come to Illinois either. So it's just, coaches want to do it. The players want to do it. Obviously, the fans crave these kind of matchups as well. There's really no downside except for it's going to be expensive as hell to go actually physically attend to the game. So you better learn what Peacock is. You better learn how to stream, because it's only a matter of time. we're going to be seeing these games on like Netflix and Hulu and Apple TV. Like that's coming. That's going to happen. I know the Big Ten just signed some 10-year, $8 billion deal for football or whatever it was. Like the second somebody else jumps in with a better deal, they're going to take that deal. That's just what they're going to do. WWE is on ESPN now. Why? Because ESPN gave them $1 billion. That's why. So I would say if you can't afford to go to games, I understand, but you better learn how to stream. You better get that streaming stick figured out. You better learn how to spell Hulu and Peacock and Roku and all these things, because that's where a lot of these games are going to be eventually. Whether it's Duke, whether it's Kansas, whether it's Penn State, doesn't matter. That's one of the unintended consequences of this whole thing. But again, the matchups are fantastic, and this is what you want. You want to have those peer-to-peer games. Like, yeah, it's great. We can play Colgate, we can play Southern and win by 37. But what do you learn about your team in those situations? Not much. I mean, it's fun to see a blowout. It's fun to, we won 120-70. Like, that's great. But you do that 9 times. How does that help you? This will help you. You get your brains bashed in. They're going to be like, well, we're not ready to be at that level yet. Or if you win, it's like, damn, they just went and beat Duke. Illinois is for real. Like, isn't this awesome?
Yeah, I remember there was a few times in the Gross era where we would start off like 9-2 or 9, and it's because we didn't play anybody the first like 11 or 12 games, and I'm like, oh, maybe we're actually good this year. And then, the first time you play like a Power 4 team or something, you lose. So I agree. I'd rather play these games like this, and if you do pick up the wins, it's like now when you do get wins like that, it's like, okay, sweet, we've already secured like a top 5 or 6 seed, unless the wheels fall off. Now it's kind of a lot more just like getting your footing for March and hitting your stride into March.